As I noted in my last video, in a note underneath the video that I did today, earlier, or actually last night, I was wondering. I had mentioned Phil Knight, and Phil Knight, as we know, is the founder and billionaire of Nike shoes. He's the one that was one of the early culprits in using slave labor in overseas. Or he might have been one of the good guys. I don't remember. I don't give a shit. The thing of it is, he's one of the reasons our election system is so screwed up. And Phil Knight wrote a $2 million check to Betsy Johnson in her long shot campaign to rat fuck the Democrats in order to allow the Republican candidate Christine Drazan to be elected. All three of these candidates, by the way, Tina Kotek, Betsy Johnson, and Christine Drazan, all have been experienced politicians. All have served in the Oregon legislature, and in fact, Kotek was Speaker of the House for several years. But we can only hope. Well, this is October the 4th, so this is a little outdated. But anyway, it says here, Knight had written Johnson a $2 million check September 1st. That is the largest contribution by any individual to any candidate since the state began keeping electronic campaign finance records in 2007. It brings Knight's contributions to Johnson to $3.75 million. She now has raised about $14 million since entering the race and has $3.7 million on hand. Her opponents, Democrat Tina Kotek, $12 million, $1.6 million on hand, and Republican Christine Drazan, $11,500,000 on hand, have closed the gap on Johnson's early fundraising lead. Now, we can only hope here that, unfortunately for Johnson, the support from Knight and other supporters doesn't appear to have moved the needle much. Results of an independent poll by Portland's DMH Research for the Oregonian that were released last week showed Drazan with 32% support, Kotek with 31%, and Johnson with 18%. Now, if Johnson were not in the race, Kotek would easily be elected. Even though there are people who were upset with Kate Brown and some of the things and some of her policies, and with some of the woke crap that Oregon is known for with Democrats. But this is concerning because Drazan shouldn't even be any close to being elected governor. And I'm reminded of the Nixon years. You know, he was the one I always talk about. And Watergate, which happened 50 years ago, the break-in, 50 years ago this year. And the dirty tricks that Nixon and his gang pulled in order to ensure his re-election. And Donald Segretti was key. He was one of the aides. He was one of the people in Nixon's inner circle, or whatever you want to call them. He was a dirty trickster, and he called these dirty tricks rat fucking. And this is what this is. When you back somebody who does not have a shot of being elected solely to split the Democratic vote in order to get the person you really want in there, then there's nothing more to say. And Johnson, who appears to have some good positions on issues, on some of the issues, not all of them, why she didn't run against Kotek in the primaries, I don't know. Before she decided to run as an independent. But she's there to rat fuck, not to actually win. So there's a real chance because Republicans aren't really going to go with Johnson. They're not really. Phil Knight and gang are counting on Johnson to peel off Democratic votes. Never trust a billionaire. Ever. With any kind of political stuff. Just don't trust them. We should know this. But anyway, there's all kinds of articles about this. That he had donated, and after he donated to Johnson, old Phil Knight, he donated $1 million to Christine Drazan. And it comes on the heels of, he donated $1 million to the Republican nominee for the Oregon governor, and the donation follows Johnson. Knight's donation comes on the heels of a $1.5 million donation to Drazan from the Republican Governors Association on Wednesday. And it's going to be a fucking travesty if she ruins it for the Dems.